Hey Cats fans, Ben Reeve here from the Hoop Show, and I'm also joined by Paul James. How you going, Paul?
All right, how are you? Good
Mate,
time to be a Cats fan, right?
it's been a busy week. It's been a lot happening. It's for a an off season period. There's been so much going on this week, but let's talk about the draft. Did you catch it live? Were you watching were you hitting refresh on the computer for the draft to drop? What was your process to
No,
absorb all the content going on?
no, I was catching night one. I was watching live. Night two, knowing that we had one draft in about 40 that were going. Sorry, one pick in about 40 that were going to go live. I was kind
Yeah,
of tuning in and out as
yeah,
we just inched closer and closer to
yeah.
time, and then kind of tuned in for the 10 minutes prior and took in the pick that ended up becoming Phoenix Foster. But yeah, I mean, I love draft time. I love trade week. I love draft time. I love diving into all of that sort of stuff, and checking out all the phantom drafts from all the experts,
Yep.
experts and genuine experts too.
Well, there'll be proven
It's
experts in 10 years when Jhye Clark becomes a three-time
Joel Selwood 2.0, like they all say, right?
premiership player, multiple Brownlow medal winner, everything. Most.
Yeah, exactly right. So, yeah, how about you? How do you take it all in?
Look, I was hitting the refresh button after probably what pick were we? Yes, I know I was around about pick 5. I was like, refresh, what's going on? Because I don't have KO at the moment, but I've had it. I'm going to get it again when the footy season comes around proper. But I was doing that, and on night 2, similar kind of thing around. What do we have? Pick 52, 53 in the end, something like that.
Yeah.
I was just hitting that refresh. I'm like, but yeah, back to night 1 though. I was like, don't take Jhye Clark because I wanted Jhye Clark all along. I think
Oh, we saw the tweets. We all saw the tweets.
they better not take him. Thank goodness they didn't, and we got him in the end. But it was a couple of nervous moments there, especially because Hawthorn was right before us. I'm thinking they're going to do us dirty. They always do.
Nah, they're just going to do a Mitch Thorpe, Joel Selwood again. This McKenzie guy will never end up playing a game.
And I think they had the pick before us in round 2, or round 3 as well. So I thought,
Yeah.
not that I knew, I didn't have a clue who
No,
we
I
were going
had
to pick.
no idea when it came to the second time
No
around.
idea. We've gone with the big Phoenix, the Phoenix Rising, or whatever What are we gonna call that bloke? I don't know. Phoenix Foster, something Foster Phoenix. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Nicknames will come in time. I'm sure he's already got one anyway. So that was pretty uneventful. First
Big
couple
Bird.
of days.
He's a tall bloke.
The tall
Big
bloke,
Bird.
exactly the tall bloke from Norwood in South Australia. I much would prefer to get a local product, but who knows? Maybe we'll retain him.
We mostly do a pretty good job with those interstaters. The only real exception that we've lost is Tim Kelly. So, and worked out all right for us, didn't it?
Sure
So,
did. We turned that into some gold, didn't we?
and a premiership.
Yeah, no, we've been able to hang on to a few guns like Joel Corey and Harry Taylor and
Yeah.
Mitch Duncan. I think they're all from WA, aren't they? And but Brad Close he's from South Australia. I keep worrying that he'll go one day. But and I think Mackey's
Doesn't
from
happen.
Andrew Mackey's from
Yeah,
South
Mac
Australia
was
originally
SA.
too. So and what's Tommy Hawkins from Finley? But he's clearly got his connections in Geelong and all that sort
Yeah,
of stuff.
father
And-
son and all that. That was if he didn't want to borrow that, then he would never have gone father son in the first place.
Exactly. What do you think of the day 3? Because that's probably where things started rolling through a little bit more. We got, if I forget some names, we've got Oscar Riccardi, Oscar without the R, and another Oscar.
Oscar Murdoch.
Oscar Murdoch, yes. No relation to Jordan Murdoch. And we got
Ted Closey.
Ted Closey, and there's another one. There's Oisin.
No, so
Oisin.
then the fourth was Oisin
Oisin
Mullen.
Mullen,
So,
who's category was Cat B rookie as well, I think. So a couple of Cat B rookies. I think Ted Closey was part of the Next Gen Academy. That's why
He was.
we've got him as a Category B rookie. So,
according to Stephen Wells, we basically like in the case of both in the case of both Closey and Oscar, they only had to survive the core draft, and then it was a guaranteed thing for
yeah.
the rookie draft.
Well, that's it. I mean, I was still a couple of nervous moments there, wondering whether someone else was going to pick him up. I always like to, as I said, hang on to the local talent where we can. Pretty sure we've got about 10 players from the Falcons at the moment, even though we didn't. I don't think the Falcons Falcons didn't have the best year. I think they might have even come last in the TAC Cup season just done. So, but they always seem to produce some good players and some AFL captains, more importantly, as well. And Tom Stewart or Paddy Dangerfield might be the next captain of Geelong, potentially, and might be the next Falcon captain. So there's usually a few out there.
Who knows? Maybe we've got dual captains going forward.
Do you want to go back to that again? I don't know. I mean,
I'm not a big fan of it, but I wouldn't rule. You can never rule out the possibility, right?
Didn't have it on my run sheet for tonight, but I thought, maybe that's a good question. Maybe we'll save that one for another time when we get a little bit into into the preseason a bit more when the conversations around the captaincy pick comes up. But I think most people putting their money on Tom Stewart to get the job. I think I've heard people say Tommy Atkins a little bit, but I don't know about that. It might be a bit early.
We love him, but I don't think
We do
he's
love him.
quite there.
Not quite there just yet.
The Geelong Falcons came 6th, by the way.
Oh, did we? Oh, we must have looked at the wrong.
Well,
thing.
finished 6th on the ladder, I should say.
Yeah, but look, Sandringham and Oakley Chargers. Someone on Twitter was proving me wrong. That I keep saying the Falcons are the factory, but that person was very correct. That Sandy and Oakley Chargers are the one producing all the talent. At least this draft, they are anyway.
Yeah, they definitely carried it this time.
Yeah, it's just the draft. I mean, who knows if they'll become 200-game players or anything like that. But runs are on the board with us. We've got a lot of AFL captains. I think we had
Exactly right.
I think we had 6 at one point going around the AFL. Back at Hodgie, Brownie, Lingy, Nick Maxwell from Collingwood. I think all those guys were captain at all one time.
They're all Geelong Falcons too, yeah.
Probably another one somewhere thrown in as well.
You breed leaders, not only gun players.
Exactly. A couple of other news stories through the week. Like as I said, it's been a pretty big week. We've had a couple of departures, sadly. Eddie Betts has moved on. He one and done, and Harry Taylor, he's gone back to WA as well. I guess success came a bit too quickly for those guys. I think there's family reasons clearly, but also in Betts' case, he's keen to do some things with those young Aboriginal boys and girls.
Yeah, like bigger picture, more than just the AFL, which you got to admire that sort of thing. And yeah, Harry got his flag and got out of there. I don't know.
He's done so. I don't know. Look,
no one understands Harry Taylor.
No.
He just does what he does, and if he's there with you, great.
If you can have him for a little bit. And I was actually surprised because he went back to WA and came back again. Yeah. So I don't know what was going on with that. But Joel Selwood did say in his speech on Best and Fairest night, Carji Greaves night, that Harry felt like there was, I can't remember if not the exact wording, but he said just some unfinished business that he wanted to see Joel have one last crack for Joel and to be there to help him to get that. Not that anything's guaranteed at the start of the year, but... No. I think that was
give yourself every chance, though, right?
That was the goal, and they got it. But a bit sad to see them disappearing. Probably the one that hurts me the most is probably Eddie Betts. I think just because of what he did with Tyson, and I'm sure not just all on Eddie, but I'm sure Eddie had a massive role to play.
Huge part in him joining the club in the first place.
Exactly. So I just worry a little bit about what that does to Tyson, and hopefully he feels. That he's supported enough by the club and he's got some other supports around him as well. Anyway, all the best to Eddie, all the best to Harry. Might be some incoming talent potentially, someone who's just won an AFLW premiership in Daisy Pearce. What's your feelings on Daisy potentially hanging up the boots and coming to the Catters?
I mean, I think the joining the Cats thing is just a matter of time at this point. So it's just a case of when does she feel ready, and certainly winning a flag probably helps make that decision. She can have her Joel Selwood moment and ride off into the sunset. So
why not?
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. But ready to have Daisy whenever she's ready to come to the club.
I think she'll be great. I think I think she'll fit in quite nicely. Look, she's probably not going to spend a 10-year career at the Cats. I don't think that. Just my read on it doesn't seem that's the plan, but she definitely wants to get out of the Melbourne environment and get some exposure to some other cultures and other footy environments. I think that's pretty important if that's what she sees for herself in her post-footy playing career. If she sees coaching or coaching administration as something she wants to pursue. And Geelong, perfect place to start, really, if that's what you want to do.
Geelong and Sydney are those.
Geelong and Sydney, exactly right. Hawthorn's a joke these days, but they did attract a little bit of talent a while ago. Hopefully our girls start attracting. We've never been a destination club at the AFLW level, but hopefully with our performances this year, we might start to become one. Because we're building something special there. So, but the other one that was out the door, but now back in the door, at least we think he was, is Simon Lloyd. Now he was out at one point. He had the North Melbourne CEO job locked up, ready to go, and they decided not to go with him, or he pulled out. It was one of the two. But no,
because it looks like he's just fixed with the Cats again.
He's back at Catland, so that's a good thing. Hopefully he's happy about that. Not too disappointed.
I mean, he's a gun operator, so
he sure is. Hopefully he's keen to go, but he is one of. We've got a few good blokes like that. Stephen Wells, he was out the door at one point too, but he's or maybe I think he was just he needed a bit of time away, and but he seems to be.
There was a bit of that, and I feel like when he came back, in the past, he did everything, and Mac and
He
anyone
did.
else was kind of learning from him. Whereas
Yeah.
now there seems to be a bit more of a split. If you think about how the trade v draft week thing played out, Mac was kind of the face and the one that would talk when it came to the
Exactly.
trade period, whereas Stephen Wells was still there at the forefront when it came to the draft. So there might have just been that sharing of the roles to allow him
It's
to
a bit.
remain engaged in the club and do what he does for longer.
It's a bit like the Wachowski brothers or sisters, or the Russo. It's this co-director kind of relationship going on at the moment, where it's not just Wellesley, it's not just Mac, it's the two of them, and you kind of see them take turns a little bit with that public face of the draft selections and the list management side of things. So that's good. Now we haven't missed any rookies, have we? Before we, I'm pretty sure we've covered everyone there. So yeah, and look, a couple of the other boys we got through the trade period. Sorry, they started to settle into the club, which is nice to see as well. So saw a couple of things with Jack Bowes through the week. He's right at the club. I think the other two boys have been there. Tanner Bruin and Ollie Henry have been there a couple of weeks now and already made the weights room their own and hopefully put on.
Yeah, every bit of footage I see is of those boys in the gym. So
it's great, isn't it? Hopefully they'll come back. They'll be ready to go. I think a couple of the older boys have started coming back too. Even Joel Selwood turned up at one point.
Training session, yeah, I did see that.
Like, what are you doing here, mate? Oh, go away. So
because I think it was Cal that he interrupted.
Exactly. Probably the last bit of news from a financial point of view. I don't know if you saw the club announced they'd posted a $1.8 million profit. I think the AGM's later next month, I think so, but that's good to see. And a lot of that clearly comes from winning a premiership and all that entails with that, all the merchandise sales and so forth. But considering we've given up the gambling and all that, pretty great effort really from all around, from the back of the house at the club, admin team. That's a pretty good effort. So you got to be happy with that. You remember what it was like 20 years ago? I do, when we were on death's door. Yeah, so where we are now, it's fantastic. And stage 5, it's a bit delayed as a lot of big projects are at the moment, but that's not too far away. Hopefully back end of the season. We'll see what the fixture looks like when it comes out next week. I think they're talking about the fixture coming out.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty close.
So I imagine we'll get a few interstate games in the first part of the season. What do you think? Are you thinking? Because I can't imagine we'd play many home games in Melbourne, and we're still going to keep.
There's always a few. Games. There's always Geelong and Richmond, Geelong and Hawthorn. There's those sort of matchups. Now I don't know when it comes to Geelong and Hawthorn, Easter Monday, kind of whose turn is at the moment. I don't know.
Magic Monday comes into that as well. So maybe we play a home game in Adelaide. Maybe that's the go with Magic round. I don't know. It's just me.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Anyway, but that's probably we could probably have that conversation when the fixture comes out in a little bit, because there's a few things to sort of weigh up there. I did see that you did your tier maker thing the other day, and while there's a little bit of you didn't like the fact that I've gone for Essendon.
The Essendon one was incredibly bold.
Well, you got to be bold, mate. You got to be brave. There's no risk, no reward. So I've gone bold on that one, and I don't think being too harsh on the Cats. I think 6 is probably, and I've gone 6 for the Cats only because I reckon the draw is probably going to smash us a little bit early doors, and we won't be able to build that momentum, and we'll still be competitive and probably be a force come September. But I don't think in terms of the home and away, we're going to get the similar results that we got.
I mean,
that's my rationale.
I think I said it in the video as well. Like, I could see where you were coming from, but I certainly amped up the theatrics to point out how wrong you were. Because I certainly I don't agree, but I could see how you got there.
We don't have to agree.
We'll hand things up a little bit just for the sake of the viewer and listener. And
I will back my judgment. I picked Geelong to go all the way last year.
Because there was probably there was 2 points of difference, I think, for the both. I mean, the Geelong one, yeah, okay, like we're not that far apart at the end of the day.
But the
Essendon was one, and Gold Coast was another.
Gold Coast, yeah, you had them a bit higher, didn't you?
I've got them. I reckon they'll finish 9th and come awfully close.
Yeah. I want them to finish top 4, but they just disappoint year after year. And Jhye will probably get another 2-year contract at some point when they've won the first 4 games of the year, and just I don't know. I don't know what they do.
Ben King will be back. That'll help.
Yeah,
Ben King.
Yeah,
it's the Kings up.
So that'll probably do us, I think, mate. I mean, there's a couple other things, but it's a long off season, so I'm sure there'll be a fair bit to cover through the week. Look, how's your other channel going? You've got the Pat Show. We probably need to remind everyone every now and then to maybe check that show out and check you out on your socials as well. You're always putting a show. How many shows a week are you putting out on the Patched?
Patches weekly, but every now and then, if there's a big game or something we've been sent, we'll have some little review discussions that we use the platform for as well. Patched is weekly. Dev Diary, which is my interview series. That's I mean, I guess that's kind of our equivalent, really, to Behind the Play.
Exactly.
From the video game space there. That's approaching episode 100. I published episode 99 today as of when we record this. So, and I've got a few plates spinning, that any of which could end up being episode 100. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there. They're all pretty cool guests, so I'm pretty stoked about that. So,
and we've got got one of our Behind the Play episodes on Patreon already.
Patreon.
If I can bring up the link for Patreon. No, it's not going to show it.
Patreon.com/The Hoop Show, I'm guessing.
Something like that, so we've got a couple of things lined up there. There we go. Look at that. It's on the screen.
Did I get that right? Patreon.com/The Hoop Show?
You got to do that underscore hoops, underscore show. Anyway, it's on the screen. We'll put it in the show notes as well. So we've got that up on there, but we are saving our the Behind the Play episodes. We're a bit closer to the season start, and we're starting to bank some, get some guests all signed up, and we'll start recording some shows during the off season. So hopefully there'll be plenty of content coming your way. Paul, anything else from you?
No, not necessarily. No. I mean, it'll be interesting. The Cats have got one spot on their list available still off the back of all this. So what they decide to do, whether they tip in towards the back end of the preseason and grab someone, do they wait for the mid-season draft? Does it go unused altogether? It'll be kind of interesting to see the path they go down. So, like, certainly there's been a couple of interviews with Wellesley in the last 24 hours, and he seems to be a little unsure. Like I think the wording, I'm looking at actually on the site at the moment, says we'll go away and assess. So they don't have a clear plan yet. I don't think is maybe put the ear to the ground and see what emerges.
Well, I think we got pretty lucky with injuries last year. We still had a couple, especially in the first half of the year, but you can't imagine you're going to have 2 years injury-free as a club. So maybe just for insurance, you might want that extra player potentially. It'd be nice to see the VFL team go.
Weird option though.
Mid-year draft. That's something
for the Cats anyway, because you don't see someone they're going to pick up mid-season. Then walking into the starting 22 for a team like Geelong, most likely.
Well, there could be a guy in the VFL that is absolutely flying, and they want to get him into the team. So you never know with these things. Anyway, that'll do for us, Paul. Have a great week. We'll probably put another show out in the next 7 days or so. Keep an eye on us on Twitter. We've always got stuff happening there, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, Cats fans.
See you guys.